So one of the struggles that I deal with now is I look completely healthy. For you to look at me and hear me talk, you wouldn't think that anything is wrong with me. But like I said, I run out of oxygen real fast. My blood oxygen will drop. And one thing that is very weird for me, and it's been like this since I started walking out of the coma. Um, Before, whenever I would start to get tired, say I was running, just running a wide open sprint, and then you start to, you run as fast as you can run on a sprint, and you start to slow down, you start jogging, and you jog as far as you can, and then all of a sudden you start walking. Like your body tells you, like, you got to get ready, you got to slow down because you're about to be out of juice. And the weirdest thing is, I will just be walking, and if I don't walk at a very slow pace, if I walk at my normal pace that I did pre COVID, I'll make it about 100 feet. And then all of a sudden, I just start gasping for air. And it's a problem because I'll be on the cell phone talking to people, and I'll be walking and talking, and I'm not thinking. Since, since I've come out of this coma, since I've survived COVID, now I have to physically, I have to actually think about everything that I want to do. If I want to get up out of this chair, I have to, take my breath, get my breath right, and then when I stand up, I've got to exhale when I stand up. Used to it, always, I just, kind of grunt and stand up, and the doctor's like, "No, you can't do that. You'll blow that lung out." So, it's just if I'm not thinking about what I need to be doing at that point, I'll gas out. And so, you know, I'll be walking on the cell phone talking, and all of a sudden I'm like, I gotta let you go. And I have to focus on my breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth. I'm doing the pursed lip breathing that they teach me. And I have to focus on breathing from my diaphragm, because now that I do have chest muscles, my body wants to breathe from my chest again. Well, you can't take as deep of a breath when you're breathing from your chest as you can from your belly, from your diaphragm. And when you need to take a really deep breath, you breathe from your diaphragm and your chest. And so I hit the wall, and it's been like that. I will say that the wall's gotten further down the road now. I can go further until I hit the wall, but still, I don't feel myself getting weaker, tired, anything like that, until all of a sudden I can't breathe. And so it really limits what I can do. In my business, I do mosquito misting systems. And I've tried to, go out and do maintenances and things like that. And like the customer, if they haven't had their grass trimmed in a week or so, just walking through that grass slows me down so much that it bogs me down, and I run out of oxygen. I have to stop, and I'm standing there in the middle of their yard going, and they probably look at their security cameras and like, what in the world is that guy doing? And that I never leave home without my blood oxygen meter or my watch. I keep that on me, and I gotta check. Okay, I'm at 88. I'm almost there. I gotta breathe until I get to at least 92, and I try to get it up to 95, because 92, if I take a couple of steps, I can be back at 88 again. And so, I just have to focus on things like that, and it's really limited my ability to do my job. And that's been a big struggle for me, because, I've always been a guy that has a sense of urgency, kind of guy that can, fix anything, get my hands on it, you can't figure it out, well, let me in there, I'll get it. I joked with the doctors, and I said, there's never been a jar of pickles I've met that I couldn't open. But now, let me tell you, sometimes, I struggle with them jars of pickles, and it frustrates me because I know I should be stronger than that. And then, the other part of me just says, listen, man, you've been through a lot and you're still going through it. And it's going to take time. That doctor told you it'd be a year. So it's going to be August before I should be back to myself. So, I just, slow wasn't in my nature, but I had to learn to take things slow. And I will tell you this, it's kind of like by God's grace, because learning to take things slow allows me to process things. And so, used to, someone cut me off in traffic, I'd be like, oh, this freaking jerk, I'm going to show them. And now, I'm like, you know what, that dude right there looks like he's probably on his way to work, or, he's on his way to pick his kid up from daycare, and he's in a hurry, and I don't let it bother me. And, it's just been one of those things. It's just been by God's grace that, going back and looking at going through COVID, it was a terrible, terrible chapter of my life, but there was so much good that came out of it. So much good. I mean, all the blessings that people have poured out on me and my family has been absolutely amazing. When I was in the hospital in the coma, people were sending food over here. They put together a food train, and they were taking care of my wife and my kids constantly. My wife had never wanted to be part of my business because she didn't want the stress of it. So I, kept her out of it. But I did give her all of my passwords and things like that. And they were stored in the computer, so she's able to access my business. And let me tell you, that girl, she is amazing. She took control of my business immediately, contacted all of my customers, let them know what we were dealing with, and someone reached out to her, one of my friends that owns a business, he reached out to her, and she contracted him to go around and take care of these customers for me. And, it was just amazing to see what all she went through, because she was helping me with my business. She was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, taking my middle daughter to cross country. Then she'd go back home, take my oldest daughter to high school, then go back, pick up my middle daughter from cross country, and then get her ready, take her to school, and then take my son to school. Well, he goes to the school that she works at, so that was, wasn't a big deal. But then she was going to school and teaching, and then she was keeping up with all of my vitals, everything. She showed me this log that she had made where she had logged daily my vitals and all the questions that she had to ask the doctor. And when she got off of work, all the questions that she asked the doctor, and then, fixing dinner for the kids and getting them ready for bed, or my youngest ready for bed. It was amazing to see how strong my wife could be when she needed to be. And it was just, that was a blessing. She stepped up, because we could have lost the business. We could have lost the company over this, but she wouldn't allow it. And just, God gave her the strength. And then whenever, she wanted to take off, whenever they put me on the ventilator, she wanted to take off, and the administration, they kind of pleaded with her and said, listen, you're not going to want to take off right now. You're going to want to take off whenever he comes off the ventilator. That's when you're going to want to be there for him. If you take off now, you're just sitting at home staring at, your phone, waiting for the doctors to call and letting you know you can Zoom. And that kind of frustrated her, but she agreed with it. And then now looking back, she's, glad that they gave her that advice, because if she had have taken that medical leave at that point, it would have been up about the time that I was getting home from from rehab. And when I got home from rehab, I still had a lot of healing to do. And so, luckily they talked her into taking her leave at the right time. And so she's been there for me this whole time. She just went back to school right at the 1st of January. And so now I'm dealing with a little bit of separation anxiety again, because, You know, I just I miss her so much, and she helped me with the business. She took me to the doctor. She just kept everything lined out for me. Made it to where I didn't have to stress about remembering doctor's visits, and she'd take my oldest to work and take the kids to school and things like that until I got better, and then I started taking the kids to school to try to help her out. But this whole process, there's been so much good come from it that I can't say that I'm glad that it happened, but I'm blessed with everything that God has done in my life through this.